War Thunder shows off the power of its new map editor. Transformers Universe just hit open beta with a lot of cash prizes, and ArcheAge finally gave us some dates for closed beta. What's happening, guys? This is James Blanc with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending July 7th, 2014. And there's not a whole lot of news after the July 4th holiday last week, but ZMR hit the masses, transitioning into open beta, adding in a bit more content for players. Several new maps have been added to the already existing game modes. They've added in the Wetworks, which is an isolated toxic waste reclamation center, great for team deathmatch or elimination. Black Gold Rush changes up the massive assault pretty nicely, but the best add-on to the game, well, for open beta anyways, is the new PvP game mode called Mercs vs. Monsters. In this game mode, you're trying to play as the enemies that you typically face in PvE in order to gain your kills. Split between the Mercs and the Monsters, either side has a goal of 60 kills before you win the round, and then switch sides. For each enemy you kill, you gain points, and then if you get killed, you have the opportunity to use those points to purchase a tougher unit type. You've got over 20 different units to utilize, and you go from the basic zombie or scout with a pistol, all the way up to the Tiger class mech, or for the monsters, a cursed emperor. It's a cool game mode for PvP, and with all the various enemies in the game, it's a really fun way to get to use them against each other. Like I said, the game is in open beta now, so anyone can get in to try it out. But speaking of open beta, this past weekend Transformers Universe made the jump, letting everyone into the game starting on July 4th. Not only that, but new and existing players got hit with the Jagex Double XP Weekend, plus $75,000 in prizes to be won via PvP tournaments. Not a bad prize pool for a starting tournament if you ask me. And if that wasn't enough, they still have the $15,000 Recruit a Friend competition. The other cool part is, like I said, the game is in open beta now, and until now I haven't had access to the game, so I'm looking forward to hopping in and showing you guys what to expect. Also last week, we see the first job change for Ad, the latest playable character in Elsword. I know there's been a lot of Elsword news this past couple of weeks, but when it comes to releasing new content, it just goes to show that these guys don't mess around. So at level 15, players can either complete an in-game quest or purchase the first job change item from the cash shop for Ad's first job change, which happens to be the Psychic Tracer. With this change, Ad's attack logic becomes extremely aggressive, utilizing the Nazod armor to extend combos and unleash electrifying effects to dish out direct damage that nobody else in the game can even come close to. I can say that I have tried this out for myself. It's pretty OP. The new character himself is definitely worth trying out if you haven't. In similar news, Nexon Europe announced a new character class for MapleStory. This time we see the new Zero class that would be categorized as a warrior based on the gear and their mid-ranged health. The Zero class starts at level 100. Character names are Alpha and Beta, of course, Alpha using the long sword while Beta wields a heavy sword. And both characters have fairly high mobility. Being able to switch between the two characters during gameplay has its perks as well. Both Alpha and Beta will have two separate HP and Time Force bars. Time Force instead of MP. And the character on standby rapidly regains HP and Time Force as well. According to the official press release, there are plenty of events throughout July to celebrate the new class, so head over to the site post at MMOHuts.com to pick up all the details. And speaking of new classes, Neverwinter announced a new class last week called the Scourge Warlock. The new class brings dark powers and the brand new curse mechanic to the game. It's making its way to players in Module 4, Tyranny of Dragons. The Scourge Warlock is a powerful magic striker who focuses on dealing damage to both single and multiple enemies. As of now, all we have is a sneak peek on the new class, but you can expect to hear more from now until the launch of their new module, which is expected to release on August 14th. Well, it looks like ArcheAge is also shooting for the next beta phase, minus the fact that it just got postponed by a few weeks. As of now, they're opening up a new alpha server called Omega with the release of the most current build, which, due to their hurry to get feedback from players on how the game feels, will not contain the Trion-specific game changes mentioned previously on their forums. The second alpha server will allow them to test the newest build that they're currently working on. The coolest news here is that they've also announced that the closed beta events will be starting up mid to late July, so you'll want to keep your eyes open for invite giveaways. You know, at places like MMOHuts.com. New info from the Alad's team in Obsidian Entertainment with Skyforge last week. The devs introduced the Divine Observatory. This is basically a global surveillance and warning system that monitors the pleas for help of the planet's mortals and sends immortals to their aid. So for players, it's essentially a gateway to a multitude of adventures and quests in a journey from immortal to godhood. Sounds epic, had to say it. There's yet to be a new trailer showing off this particular system in the game, but in the player's first 100 hours of play, they'll have access to more than 40 solo and group PvE adventures, 5 different types of PvP competitions, and 10 massive open-world locations to explore. And with announcements like these, it's easy to say that it won't be that long before we see beta access, which is always a good thing. Up next, Path of Exile reaches out to a new popular market and launched in Brazil, in a sense. Grinding Gear Games partnered up with a digital goods payment company in Latin America to set up payment methods that will allow players in Brazil the ability to make purchases in-game using their preferred payment methods. This also opens up the opportunity for Path of Exile to reach all throughout Latin America, Portugal, Spain, and Turkey. Seeing that the game has a continuously growing player base, opening up into new areas like these is only going to help them that much further. Last week, the Gaijin Entertainment developers released a new video showing off the map editor in War Thunder. Now, we heard about this a little while back when they were introducing the ground forces, but the editor allows players to recreate any of the landscapes in the game, or you can create landscapes of various types completely from scratch. You can also use an array of tools to create complicated rules to automatically generate a natural-looking landscape, which is pretty cool. But the even cooler aspect is that with this, you can make some really creative stuff, like even a Martian landscape to fly over, and then share that map you create with others. I think War Thunder is already doing incredibly well, but this is an even further step in the right direction for them. In the most recent episode of the Galactic Living series, Star Wars The Old Republic showcases Tatooine as a possibility for your new home for the Galactic Strongholds, the upcoming expansion to the game. Tatooine is just one of many locations for player housing that can be used to show off your personal collections of trophies, companions, mounts, and even vehicles. Like always, subscribers get early access to the expansion on August 19th. Preferred early access is between September 16th and October 13th, and of course the official launch is October 14th, making the expansion available to everyone with an account in the game. Next up, Riot Games just released patch 4.11 for League of Legends, with a primary theme of equalizing the battles in the jungle, including 2 new items for tank/utility junglers, the Quill Coat and the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. This patch also brings with it the beta launch of the game's new Match History feature. This is a record of past games that you've played, expanded and organized with various graphs, charts, heat maps, and more to help players better understand their most exciting matches. This should be a nice way to reflect on previous games with high detail, as well as share them with friends, all in an easy-to-use intuitive interface. Plus, with this, you'll be able to share your match history across all of the social networks. And for our final bit of news, Smite has announced their World Championship to take place January 9th through the 11th, 2015 in Atlanta, Georgia. The starting prize pool for the 3-day championship is $600,000, plus that prize amount should increase significantly prior to the event, based on community contributions as well as exclusive content sales like skins and voice packs, which will be announced later on, of course. With that, you might actually see the prize pool push the $1 million mark. Hopefully, anyway. We've got plenty of time before the World Championship starts, but the starting tournaments for both Europe and North America have already been announced. August 9th in Atlanta for North America, and November 15th through the 16th in Cologne for Europe. But anyway, guys, that's about all we've got for this shorter week of news. The winners for the World of Tanks Blitz and Elsword giveaways have been announced on the forums, so if you've entered, check your forum inbox to receive your prizes. Like always, if you're looking for more information about the news mentioned in the recap, check the description below or head over to MMOHuts.com/news for even more MMO news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below or head over to MMOHuts.com/forums. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.